Hey, gals and guys, it's Christopher Mosier from MyMediaHelper.com. And just recently, actually starting Monday, June 12th, which was yesterday, Monday, June 12th, I've been posting. I'm going to post one a day. There's 17 of them, Fleischer superhero cartoons. They're public domain. I grew up with them. I love them. And I just felt like I'd put them on the channel because I can, because they're public domain. I love the character Superman. I saw a Christopher Reeve movie a million years ago. I love the Fleischer cartoons. I've seen those through the ages, through my childhood. And I want to show them to the world. There's tons and tons and tons of YouTube channels that already have them posted, which is fine. They're public domain, as I indicated, so I can put them on the channel, get some traffic for the channel. That's always good. So there's a variety of reasons why I put the Superman cartoons on my channel. Just they'll always be there for me to watch, and I'll know exactly where to go and watch them. So I was thinking, because Superman Day was June 12th, in celebration, I'm going to post one of these Fleischer Superman cartoons a day, up to 17 days, because that's all there are. And with that, I was thinking about the other media that I grew up with, radio dramas. I'm 53 years old, so I've lived a lot of life, I guess. I used to listen to a lot of this stuff, watch a lot of this stuff. And there wasn't a lot of superhero material back when I was a kid. It was few and far between. It was hard to get, and there just wasn't. I grew up with the Adam West Batman show, the George Reeves Superman show. I mentioned Christopher Reeve, his Superman movies, and some other odds and ends, some TV movies, a couple Captain America TV movies, and things of that nature. So I just wanted to go through. I used to run, or I guess I still run, a site called Fan Film Follies. It's kind of out there on the vine, dangling on its own. I don't really pay much attention to it anymore. I just don't have time to update it. And I have all these audio drama links. And if you go here, they don't even work anymore. I think the plugin is defunct now. So I don't know. Maybe I'll go back and, yeah, it's Audio Flash Player, which I think is defunct anyways. So I might get all this stuff over to my Media Helper, my YouTube channel. I'm not sure what's public domain and what's not. I know the Fleischer cartoons, Superman cartoons, are in public domain. So that's the reason for this video, really. And if you want to go here, you can get them on your own. You can download them. You can download them all over the place. I thought I'd go through some of this stuff and just show you. I'm going to try to keep the 21st century out of it. I'm just going to kind of focus on the 20th century media stuff as far as superheroes are concerned, and perhaps the stuff you've never heard of, especially the newer generation. If you're a teenager now, if you're in your 20s, even your 30s, you might never have even heard about this stuff. But I just want you to know it exists, and I just wanted to talk about it. I just wanted to make a video about it because I thought it would be fun, and I like to have fun, babies. All right, so I brought a bunch of links up. I'll put them all in the description. Like I say, here's the Fleischer. Yeah, there's Spider-Man radio drama out there. There's a couple of them, actually, and I'll get to that in just a moment. I'll just leave this up for reference. Yeah, I brought this up. These are old Marvel cartoons from the 60s. They're very badly animated. They're not really animated at all. They just kind of, the figures stay stationary and like the mouths move. I'm not sure if these are public domain or not. They are available upon this link, and I'll see if they're public domain. If they're public domain, I might put them on the site as well. But it's all based on time. The time I have to do that. So let's just run through this stuff. There's no particular order. I just brought up a bunch of links. I know the Blue Beetle movie is coming out very soon, and it does star that kid from Cobra Kai, which interests me because I love that show, and it'd be interesting what the character looks really built, that he built himself up for the character. So hopefully it's a good movie. And I was going to say Bruce Timm. James Gunn, not Bruce Timm. James Gunn just took over the reins of DC, more not towards the business side. I think he's more into the development of the concept side of things, because he's writing the new Superman movie, which speaking of Superman, so that would be interesting. And so he's got more creative control, I believe, than business control. I think someone else, I forget his name, is taking care more of the business side of things. So this is a 13 or 16 episode. I'm sorry. Is it 16? It might be more than... it's 24 episodes. So this is a 24 episode radio drama. I haven't listened to it in years. I bought it off some guy off of eBay, I believe, and then I put it on this website. So I still have the files. You just can't link to them from here. I still have the files on my server. Again, I'm not sure if this is public domain or not. I'm guessing that it is at this point, this radio drama. I can't imagine anyone licensed this show beyond its initial run. So I'm not really sure. So I have to find out. And maybe when Blue Beetle comes out, I'll do something with the audio drama and I'll put it up on my Media Helper YouTube site. I'm not really sure. So it's pretty interesting. It's got the original. Who's the original? Dan Garrick. Okay, Dan Garrett. So I'm not a Blue Beetle aficionado. So the exploits of Dan Garrick, a rookie patrolman. So I believe he was the first Blue Beetle, and then it went to someone else, and now it's some kid, I don't know, help me out here, some Puerto Rican kid or some other nationality. I'm not sure who the kid from Cobra Kai is, what nationality he is. I know he's like of Mexican descent, or he plays of Mexican descent on the show. But anyways, yeah, that's kind of interesting if you want to check that out. What we got next here? Oh, this is the Fantastic Four radio drama. What's interesting about this is that if you do or do not know, Bill Murray, right before his SNL days, right before Saturday Night Live, he played the part of Johnny Storm, the Human Torch, which was always interesting to me. It's a pretty good radio drama. I mean, it takes place, or it was produced in the 70s, like I said, right before SNL. It's all right. It's interesting to go back and listen. It's got it draws a lot of inspiration from the stories, if not use the actual stories from the comic book. Again, I haven't listened to this stuff in years. So that's something else. Let's see what else we got here. Which one's this one? Oh, this is the Super Adventures of Superman. So this is, I'm pretty sure this started in the 40s, or actually 1938, between 1938 and 1951, this radio drama. And there's tons and tons and tons and tons and tons and tons of episodes. No way I would ever put them on my YouTube channel, but they're out there in masses. And again, I'm not sure if they're public domain or not. It doesn't matter. I mean, you can get them very easily and listen to them if that's something you're interested in. And you're a big Superman fan and you're interested in the history of Superman and love everything Superman, must consume everything Superman. Check out the radio drama. It's all right. It's pretty good. Just, I mean, keep in mind it was made in the 30s, right? And I think it introduced a lot of Superman mythology into it. I can't tell you what specifically it did. I believe the up and away thing was part of this, just because they needed to say something to indicate that Superman was flying, and obviously you couldn't. It was radio. You sat there, and it was in your mind, right? You were listening, and all the images were in your mind, so it had to shoot something out to you in audio form to get that imagination brewing, and so you could visualize in your brain what Superman was doing. So interesting. I think he fights mostly thugs, just like the George Reeves TV show, right? George Reeves TV show, mostly what he fought was thugs. There was never really cool villains like you would see at the time in the comic book. That didn't really come along until the 80s and the 90s and so on, when they got away from just random everyday thugs to more supernatural, your aliens, your superpower villains, and things of that nature. All right, so let's go to the next one here. So the Shadow, big tag character, Orson Welles, I believe, was the narrator. There's Orson right there. Big time personality. I'm not sure to the level of celebrity he was at the time. Obviously, he became a huge director. And I don't think I've ever really listened to this radio drama, so I couldn't tell you much about it. I can't tell you much about the Shadow beyond Alec Baldwin, right? Alec Baldwin played him in the 80s or the 90s. I think I saw that movie. I don't think it was particularly good. I think it's got some type of fan following, but again, I'm not too into the Shadow. I really can't stand Alec Baldwin anyways, even back then. So I don't know too much about the character, but be aware that it exists. The radio drama does exist. Okay, the next one, we've got the Green Hornet. So I don't know a lot about the Green Hornet either as far as the radio show is concerned. Seth Rogen did that movie, which was okay. I don't think it was terrible. And then then Jet Li, and of course, from a spinoff from the old Adam West, Burt Ward Batman show was the Green Hornet with Bruce. I know Bruce Lee played Kato. I couldn't tell you who played the Green Hornet. I have no idea. I probably saw it a million years ago. It was all right. I don't know. Even the Batman show was okay. It was cool. It was cool for the time. I was a little kid. I was a little young, and it's kind of cheesy now, but it's fun in that retro looking back kind of way. I do like Adam West and Burt Ward. I do like the old Batman series, but I'm very happy that they did modernize it and make Batman the character that he was originally intended to be, which was the Dark Knight, right? So anyways, why am I talking about Batman? We're talking about the Green Hornet. So the Green Hornet was an audio radio show. Let's see if it originated in Detroit in 1936. I wasn't around then, but I did. They did have these things called repeats. Yes, even in my day on the radio, mostly AM, you would turn on AM, and there may be Amos and Andy and Fibber McGee and Molly and all these old Burns and Allen and all these old radio comedies and dramas, and the Lone Ranger. Oh, the Lone Ranger too, which I didn't put on here. That's another audio drama if you're a Lone Ranger fan. Just all these old radio programs used to pop up in AM, and I used to listen to them during the night if I couldn't sleep. I mean, I didn't. We didn't have Nintendo. We didn't have the Wii. We had Atari 2600 at the end of the 70s, but and we had and TV stations would go off the air at like 2 or 3 a.m. So you couldn't exactly get up and watch TV if you couldn't sleep. So there was the radio, and that's the entertainment that we had, and that's what I would listen to if I couldn't sleep, or if I had insomnia, or if I was just staying up. That's what we did. What is this one? Captain Midnight. Have no idea what the hell this is. I know it was a radio drama. It's from 1938 to 1949. I know it's superhero based. Let's see who had previous success. Skelly the Bar, Ben Air, blah, 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 blah. So I don't know a lot about it. I was just trying to read the synopsis here to see if I can get a general idea. I think just a generic superhero at the time. So it's out there if you want to listen to it. Dick Tracy, never really listened to this show, never really seen the old movies or serials, or I think there was a TV show based on it, maybe back in the 50s or the 60s. Then there was the Warren Beatty movie in the late 80s, I do believe, or middle 80s, late 80s. And then he came back in a commercial. Warren Beatty looked 100 years old. He came back as Dick Tracy. Dick Tracy, like in the 90s or the 2000s, they did some retro commercial I remember seeing. Never listened to it. Don't have much thoughts about Dick Tracy. Never read the comic book, really. Never got into Dick Tracy, but I know he's a comic book legend. He was in the funny papers on your Sunday paper, or your daily paper. If you're a Dick Tracy fan, there's an audio drama for it. There's a character called the Spider. Again, I have no idea. I couldn't find an archive of all the episodes. So if you look around, Amazon Audible seems to have some audibles you can pay for. I don't know why you would want to pay for an old radio drama. Did I find... I think I found a site that has them. You can download them maybe along as we keep going here. But the Spider, I have no idea. Don't know anything about him. He seems like a character just like the Shadow and 70s pulp character. So anyways, that radio drama's out there. Just want you to be aware of it. There's this Batman episode I never even knew existed from 1950. I'll have to listen to it. I didn't even know it was out there until I was bringing up these links just now, like a half an hour ago when I was bringing up all these links to show you. Don't know anything about it. I know the BBC, which we'll talk about, did a Superman audio drama, did Batman audio drama, did Spider-Man, did Star Wars, and I might be missing some, but we'll get to those in just a second. I brought up Pendant. So the reason I'm sticking to more of the 20th century stuff is because now there's a lot of fan drama, especially with the internet and the ease of recording audio and adding music and sound effects. And there's a couple reasons why I bring Pendant up. First off, I've got I've got a lot of their old radio dramas listed on my site. I notice they took all the intellectual property episodes of what they were doing off. I'm assuming because they're trying to just make money off their own original stuff, or just want to get their own original stuff out there. They did like The Last Son of Krypton, Last Daughter. I think they did Batman, Ace of Detectives. I have a lot of this stuff uploaded to my server. But they're mostly doing their original stuff now, which I don't blame them. They can't make any money off using other people's proprietary characters, their intellectual properties. I'm just bringing it up because they were like one of the first fan-based websites that produced fan-based audio dramas on these intellectual properties of Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, and so on. I'm not going to touch. There's tons and tons and tons and tons of fan-made radio dramas online, or internet dramas, or whatever, audio dramas, whatever you want to call them. And that's why I bring them up. Just kind of a side note. Here's, I believe this was done by the BBC. This is One Shot Lazarus Syndrome. I have listened to it in the past. It's pretty good. I would recommend it. Here's a link to get it. I'm sure you can get it very easy. Just do a search through Google, and I'm sure it's all over the freaking place. So Doc Savage, old pulp novels, old pulp comic books, old pulp character, I guess. I think from the 20s and the 30s. This radio drama says 1985. I don't know anything about Doc Savage, except I know what he looks like. I have a visual representation of the character in my mind. I don't think I've ever listened to any stories with him in it, seen any movies with him in it, or read any comic books with him in it. I don't know who owns the character. Maybe DC. DC might own Doc Savage. I'm not really 100% sure. But again, just wanted you to be aware that the radio drama is out there. All right, what do we got here? Death Star Trans. Oh, okay. I wanted to bring up the Star Wars audio dramas. I grew up with these as a kid. It started out with Star Wars. And it was great getting up WXXI, which was like a PBS radio affiliate of the PBS station that plays here in Rochester. Would play them every Saturday. It would be a half an hour episode. That was great. I was 7. I was 8 years old. And that was a treat for me every Saturday morning to get up and not only read the Sunday funnies when, the newspaper was this thick, not this thick. Things have changed, and it was just fun. Listening to them, and then they did The Empire Strikes Back, and then years after that they did Return of the Jedi with a lot of the same cast. And then there's other radio dramas that came after that, audiobooks, things of that nature, which you can get. So like Heir to the Empire, I had that, and I'm not sure if they did the whole trilogy or not, but when the Timothy Zahn books came out, they did audio dramas on that. And a bunch of other stuff. So there's tons of Star Wars audio out there. These are the originators. BBC did Star Wars radio drama, Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi. Great stuff. I listened to it a gazillion times over the years. So we've got, Power Records. Power Records, yes. I had a few of these when I was a kid. Specifically, I can remember Captain America's story, a Spider-Man story, a Fantastic Four story, which I think they grabbed, and I don't think they grabbed that from the radio drama and put it on a Power Records. Power Records did Marvel, they did DC, they did Star Trek, which I'll have a link for, and just a ton of 70s stuff. I think they did Planet of the Apes, if I'm not mistaken, and they were great. I mean, right? We didn't have superheroes on TV and movies in every single place that we have now. It was very limited. There wasn't a lot of superhero entertainment out there as far as audio or visual entertainment. It was comic books, basically, is what we had. We're talking about like the 70s, and when I was born during the 70s, early 80s, stuff like that. So the BBC, this is still Power Records. So this is Spider-Man, Power Records. These are just the stories that they did. Power Records did for Spider-Man. Here's another Power Records for Captain America. I'm sure you can find this stuff. So it didn't take me a long time to find these links and get them up. I didn't spend too much time, so you shouldn't have a problem if you sit down for like a half an hour. You want to find this stuff. I'm sure it's pretty easy and available online without an issue. So here's the Star Trek Power Records, different stories. I had one of these. I forget which one. It was like some weird noise music on the Starship Enterprise that was like driving them nutso, and they had to figure out where the music was coming from. And I'm not sure what the punchline was or how they resolved that. But I had one of these once upon a time, 75. So 1975, it looks like 79, 79. So the 70s, the good old 70s, which probably most of you were not even there. I think that's it as far as old time 20th century radio dramas or records or so on are concerned. So there's this site too. This has been around for a long, long time, and they actually do, and I can tell you none of this is public domain, but they do offer a great deal of superhero dramas. I haven't been on this site in a long time. So let's see if we can find superhero genres, comics. There we go. Genres. God damn it. Genres, comics. Their site's not very intuitive. See if they have Archie Comics, Dark Horse Comics. I know they do DC and they do DC and Marvel. Maybe they're in their own thing. No, let's just look up Marvel real quick. Marvel. The Mask. There's a poop load. There's a poop and poop load. Where's all their DC and Marvel comic stuff? They still do them? Interesting. So they used to have a bunch of DC comics. They used to have a bunch of Marvel comics, radio dramas. I wonder what happened to them. Let me put in Superman and see what happened. All right, so I'm going to do a quick edit of this video and see what the dealio is on this. So I don't want to spend too much time on this, just the fact that I'm not really sure what happened with graphic audio and DC and Marvel comics. Those audio dramas are no longer available on the graphic audio website. You can get a lot of the old shows, old audio dramas via YouTube. Looks like they're all over the place. And you can also get them through Audible, which I just saw a bunch of them if I get back to Audible. So I don't know what the deal is if DC and Marvel brought them in-house and just had Audible do them now, if graphic audio is even involved. They were bought out by another company in like 2020. So I'm not really sure what the story between graphic audio and DC and Marvel comics is. And there's really nothing that hits me over the head doing a search in Google. So if you know, certainly put them down in the comments. You can still get this stuff. I mean, I'm looking at Civil War that was produced in, 2019, I do believe. So these are all fairly new audio dramas. And yeah, not sure what the dealio is, but you can still get them via Audible, and you can find a lot of them on YouTube. And I just brought them up to show you these were kind of the leaders in the turn of the century as far as what audio dramas, one's licensed audio dramas, I should say. There's a lot of fan stuff out there, but licensed audio dramas. So seek those out. I'm not really sure what's going on with Star Wars or Star Trek. If they still have audio dramas, I don't know what's going on as far as new stuff. I just kind of wanted to address the 20th century kind of stuff. All right, gals and guys, this was a nice trip down memory lane. Give you some of my knowledge on this stuff, and maybe give you an idea of some stuff maybe you never heard of, especially you newer people to life, you 20-year-olds and you teenagers and you 30-year-olds, all you youngins. Yeah, if you're looking for some superhero entertainment and want to add to your collection or your knowledge or whatever the case may be. All right, gals and guys, like I said, Superman, the Fleischer cartoons, I'm going to post one a day. And beyond that, I don't know what will I have time for. I'm always working and posting and making other videos and stuff. So only so many hours in the day. So I appreciate you as always. If you could please subscribe to the channel, I would appreciate it. We're getting to the 500 mark. I'm very excited. I know that's not a lot for a lot of people. There's YouTube channels that have millions of subscribers, but for me, hey, it's exciting for me. So let me have my glory. Please share this if you could. Please like this video if you like it. Please like it 15 times. Like it DC 52 times if you didn't like it, and hit the bell for updates. And I will catch you later. See ya. Bye-bye. So long. Bye-bye. Bye. Bye.